Hello beautiful people and welcome to the Halo Foundry. Today we're going to be reviewing the Halo Infinite Wasp Onslaught set by Mega Construx. This is fresh off the presses, coming out this week. This beautiful set will cost you 35 to 40 of Her Majesty's coins, or 40 American circles. With 409 pieces, this is likely to be one of the biggest sets that we'll be receiving this year, but hopefully we'll be getting bigger later on. Included, you filthy dogs will be receiving Master Chief, a Marine, a Grunt Conscript, a Hunter, a Banished Boombox Thing, a Banished Shade Turret, and of course the Unsc Wasp. Now, I'm not going to be showing you the box too much right now because, come on, who really cares about the box? But what I'm going to say about it is that Mega Construx have done some slight upgrades to them. So no longer are you going to be reaching in for the contents like you're gutting a turkey. You now get this cool treasure chest revealed to them. How cool is that? Look at that thing fly open. Ooh. But what is also really cool is that they've gone back and upgraded previous sets to this new box design, as you can see with the Banished Breakout set right here. So thank you Mega Construx for your attention to detail and prolonging the life of old sets. Beautiful. Anyway, let's jump balls deep into this set, and we're going to be starting off with the figures included. So first off, we've got the green guy, Master Chief. So this Chief right here has the same sculpt as all the other Infinite Chiefs Mega Construx has released so far, so nothing is new with this guy. But what is different with this one, I can hear you all screaming, well, that comes down to the paint job. He is now sporting a much lighter shade of green, inaccurate lime colour if you would, which I don't really mind to be honest. And the other thing that I appreciate with this guy is the new battle damage he has on his chest and his thigh. If you watched my video when this set was announced, you might have seen me hating on these new dots that they have. But now that I've got this thing in front of me, I think that the images done a poor representation of these dots, and in front of me they look absolutely fantastic. The damage and the look of Chief is now controlled, and I think they did a really cool effect with this, opposed to the random splashes of black wash on the other older Chiefs. That is now dirty and disgusting. These dots are the way forward. But like I said with this guy, the colour is a little strange, but now that I've got 8 Infinite Chiefs in my collection, it's good to get one that's a little bit different. Next up, we've got the Unsc Marine, which brings the head sculpt of Miranda Keyes straight out of the grave. Now, this Marine is absolutely horrible. It really sucks ass. Again, this is another Marine that is taller than the Spartans, so I don't know why they keep doing that. And building this thing, it felt like a used condom. It doesn't feel good at all. Not the quality wise, it's the limbs are just too long and it feels way too loose. But that's what you get when you're using the Call of Duty bodies for Halo sets, they just don't belong together. So please Mega Construx, sort your crap out here would you, and give us decent looking Marines for once. And next up we've got the Grunt Conscript in blue, which if you've had any other Grunt in this line you know exactly what to expect here, so I'm not going to go into too much detail. This is a cool little figure of your favourite little guy, and that is really it. He just looks fantastic. What a little spicy meatball. And to finish things off here we have got the Banished Hunter, which is rocking a wicked red and silver armour set. It looks so good. The main colour of the plastic used on the armour pieces is silver, so the red highlights are painted on, which looks pretty fantastic. But the waist is painted silver with a red base, so it looks a little bit odd with the two different coloured of silver. You know what I mean? Look at that. But the thing is, with all other hunters before this, it is great to see how big they are comparing it to all other figures like Chief right here. You really get the scope of just how massive hunters are in the game. But as cool as it is far from perfect. Because in game we know that they never stand up straight, and it is very limited articulation in the knees. It means that you can't give them that iconic pose. Did you hear that? You can't give the hunters their iconic pose. This is as far as I can have him hunched over without falling, and it sort of looks like he's looking for his glasses. Maybe in the future if they just gave us new legs with the rest of it being the same with bendier knees, that would fix this immediately. But for now I guess this is just going to have to do. But now let's move on to the other parts of this set. So we also get 2 assault rifles with that fiddly arse little ammo counter for God's sake, a plasma pistol and 2 plasma grenades. Again, nothing special here with any of these weapons, they're the same molds as before and all of them are just single colours. Whoop. The exploding box thing is pretty simple, didn't have to be included but it is a nice touch regardless. There it is right there in all its glory. So yeah, there's a nice touch of accessories included in this set. I wish that there wasn't 2 assault rifles just to mix things up, but what can I do about it now, eh? But now let's get into the more exciting builds of this set. And for that we've got the Shade Turret, which I have to say looks really beautiful in red. Come in with a simple swivel base and 2 guns that move up and down with these weird sort of vagina flap things that swivel too. So that's cool. Nice bit of articulation for such a simple thing. But like I said, this is really simplistic for its design, but as a side build, I think it's not bad at all. It has room to stand the grunt in the middle, which is fantastic when he holds these 2 little handles, just as you'd expect. But there is one thing here that I am really not happy with, and that are these 2 circle rail things that go around the turret. These little pricks right here. But that's because if you remember the Chief helmet they did last year, then you've got to remember the cool but horrible to handle visor that they did. Well, that material returns with this turret. As when you're removing this thing from its excess material, it feels like it's bloody surgery. My heart honestly is beating in my throat thinking with each movement I make it's going to rip or bend. This is the worst thing ever. I really hate it. I don't think it'll rip at all. Don't get me wrong, I know that it's not that sort of material, it's like a plasticky metal-y crap, but it's scary nonetheless. But that leaves this thing being really bouncy and flexible. It just means that you've got to be extra careful with it, and one wrong move, just one wrong move, and you crush it and then game over. There is no spare here. I don't know why they didn't just mould this thing out of plastic like the old Shade turret they did a few years back. Like, it's maddening. But lastly, for the Shade turret, it's got an alternative build, which is done by simply removing these pieces and adding these ones right here. I'm not sure if this is meant to be a different turret altogether with no shields, or if it's meant to be the current turret with its shields depleted, but it's cool nonetheless. And last for today's review, we've got the meat and potatoes of this set right here, the Unsc Wasp. Now, I know when this thing was announced, a lot of people weren't blown away by the build of this thing, and if you've got the previous Wasp that Mega Construx did a few years back, then you're probably pretty happy with just having that one. But now that I've got this thing in front of me, I have to say that I absolutely love it. I think people's biggest issue with this thing was the exposed studs on top. And yeah, I think it would look so much better if they had more slope pieces just to clean it up a little. But for the rest of the build, it is just amazing. And I think they can be forgiven for the studs for everything else with this thing. As the more that I built this thing and the more it came together, it quickly became one of my favourite Halo Infinite sets out of all of them. Because playability wise, this thing feels absolutely amazing just to pick it up and swoosh it around. You get a nice little grasp of it underneath to lock your fingers in. And yes, don't pretend like you're not going to be doing it and I'm really sad for thinking this. No, everyone's going to do it and swoosh it around a few times. Come on, back me up here, boys. Like, look at this, whoosh, whoosh, looks flipping fantastic. The thrusters on the back are hinged so you can portray its movement, as well as the thrusters on the bottom, which are a really nice little feature. And also with the bottom thrusters, you can bend them all the way down so they can act like nice little feet so you can have it flat so it's not laying at any crazy angles. But now, the cock piece on this thing is exactly the same as the Wasp before, but I don't have that set personally, so this thing still amazes me. As this little hinged flappy bit here at the front snugly fits over the clean piece of plastic to lock it in place, and unlocking it allows you to open up and reveal the seat within. I mean, it feels so satisfying when things are built to fit perfectly together like this. When it snaps in place, oh, it just feels amazing. Just like the way my penis perfectly fits into the eye of a needle. Outstanding. The knob here again is a little basic, but does the job perfectly. You also have this nice little printed wedge piece here that's got some dials on it, which is also hinged, very nice. And then we got the 2 trigger shooters on the front. Personally, I really hate the trigger shooters that are included with sets. I don't like it at all. I would remove them, but I am an instructions guy, and removing them would mean that the set is not complete, so sadly I've got to keep them on it. You know, what can you do? But now, let's move on to my favourite part of this whole set. The turbines. As they spin. Which is cool, right? But then, whoa! Look at that! They spin around in every single direction possible in this universe and every single universe out there. They just won't stop spinning. They spin better than your mum does on a stripper pole. That shocked me to death. Now, I haven't been collecting Mega Construx as long as most people out there, so forgive me if this is done in previous sets, but this thing blew my mind. When I was building the instructions, I was flabbergasted. I was running around the house, holding the wing like a caveman who discovered fire. This amazing effect is simply achieved with the silver turbine pieces being beveled slightly out and the 2 connector pieces being beveled slightly in. So there is nothing special going on here apart from a tight grip that is holding these pieces in place, and it feels so amazing turning it in all directions. Like I said, I might be more amazed by this than some other people out there, but simple engineering like this really gets me. Another feature it has is a 2-in-1 build for this set. Now, I'm not going to be building this as I don't really care about the alternative builds, but here's a picture, just pretend I built it. Woo, look, it looks amazing, woo. But just to finish things off here, here's a shot from underneath. It looks a little bit messy, I know, but that's really the same with most of the builds they do. But this is also where the 4 bullets are stored, so that's pretty cool. And here is a shot from the top with some cool UNSC printed pieces either side. And an overall design that looks sort of like Majora's Mask. Anyway, that's my review for the Wasp Onslaught set, and here is the whole thing together. Flipping beautiful, I know. But like I said, I'm really happy with the whole thing despite some annoyances here and there, but I don't regret buying it at all. It's an absolute beast of a set and another welcome to my collection overall. Lovely. But what do you think of it? Are you going to be picking it up, or have you got it already, or are you going to be holding off for future ones? Either way, let me know in the comments down below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more weekly Halo gear videos. Until next time, you sexy people.